This is my tying of Bob Wyatt's Dirty Duster dry fly. Once you've got your grub hook mounted in the vise, here I'm using a Camazan B100 size 14, catch on your thread and start forming the underbody of the fly. Remove the waste end of thread and continue forming the underbody, taking it well into the bend of the hook. This fly does have a slim profile. Because of the minimal materials used, forming the underbody will not affect the final profile of the fly too much. Once you've formed the underbody, return the thread to the head of the fly in open turns. Through the thorax area of the fly, I use touching turns to ensure I've got a smooth base for laying down the hackle and thorax area. At this point, I'm going to catch in our hackle, slightly back from the eye of the hook to give space for forming the head later. The hackle on this fly is a silver badger. I have used a Whiting's 100 hackle pack, as these are quite a cost-effective way of buying hackles. Prepare the hackle by pulling some of the barbs parallel to the stem and trim off. This gives you a length to tie down through the thorax. Make sure you've got enough length of stock to tie down to secure the hackle. The length of the thorax is probably a good measure to use. Once you've got the stock tied down, bring the thread back up towards the tie-in point for the hackle. You will notice I did wind slightly further than the end of the thorax. This is to maintain a smooth transition into the body. The next step is to dub the thorax and the body. When preparing your dubbing, make sure it's well separated, not knotted up or bunched up. This allows you to form a nice neat noodle on the thread. Keeping in mind that the thorax wants to be slightly thicker than the body. Apply your dubbing to your thread and twist tightly, squeezing quite hard between your thumb and forefinger to form a consistent noodle. Apply more dubbing as you go, keeping in mind that less is more, and you can always add more if required. Continue adding dubbing to the thread to form the body of the fly. Sometimes it's easier to tilt the hook and vise sideways. It gives you more clear space for applying dubbing to the thread. As you progress along the body, try and reduce the amount of dubbing you're applying to form a taper. You can only achieve a very slight taper, as the fly has a very slim profile in any case. Ensure that all of the thread underbody is covered by the dubbing. Once the body is formed, return the thread up to the back of the thorax in open turns, thus ribbing the body. The back of the florax should be roughly in line with the point of the hook. Of course, this may be adjusted to suit the hook used. We now wind the hackle in close or touching turns back to the thread. Take your time and be careful so as to avoid trapping too many of the hackle barbs. Once you've got the hackle in line with the thread, catch in with a couple of turns and wind the thread through the hackle to the head of the fly. Again, you don't want to trap too many barbs as you're winding the thread through the hackle, but don't be too cautious. Just go for it and you shouldn't have too many issues. Now you want to form a neat head, but fold back any stray barbs. To keep the head neat, only apply a few turns of thread and then immediately whip finish. Again, try and fold any hackle barbs back, but try not to catch too many. Any remaining stray fibres can be tidied up later and cut away. Once the head's formed, trim away your thread and then the remainder of the hackle. If you do this by holding the hackle under tension and sliding the partly open scissors into the stalk, you should be able to cut away the waste hackle without removing too many barbs. Next step is to varnish the head of the fly. Taking care not to get too much varnish on any of the hackle. As the hackle on this fly is clipped underneath the hook to allow the fly to sit into the water surface when fishing, it's worth making sure you're happy with the way the hackle's lying, and even giving a little bit of rub with the velcro pad to straighten out all the hackle fibres and make sure they're evenly distributed. Once you're happy with the position of the hackles, come in with your scissors and trim away barbs below the hook. The aim is to remove any barbs that would be below the horizontal position when the fly is fishing, so that the remaining barbs form a 180-degree arc, parallel with and above the water surface. I can see a hackle barb pointing forward of the eye of the hook, so I'll come in with my hackle pliers and pull that away. A final check of the hackle, make sure everything's lying where you want it and neatly. But that is the fly finished. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please like it. Subscribe to my channel. Any feedback and comments are always welcome.